DJ, I'll start with you. You return on the linebacker core. That core lost a lot of leadership last year. What are you doing as a linebacker? What are you doing to fill that void where T.T. Barber, Cavellis Luck, and all that left off?
Well, recently I've been taking a more vocal approach, and I'm trying to work on being more emotional. I'm not a real emotional guy, and it's kind of hard trying to change that, but I'm really trying to work on it. I'm trying to get all the guys to buy in, even the freshmen who just came in and the JUCO guys, trying to get them to buy in and learn the scheme so that we can play fast and be an efficient defense.
Brent, if I remember correctly, I think I saw on Twitter that Coach Spray put 15 pounds on you. How is that going to serve you as a quarterback, and how do you build off of last year?
Coach Spray's, the best strength coach in the country. I think anybody up here would agree with that. 15 pounds, it's only going to help me. Keep me healthy, I guess. I got those guys in front of me to do that, but I guess it can only help me improve. It was the second part of the question, just how do I build off last year?
After such a great year last year, how do you build off that?
It's easy. I got great guys around me. Coach Franklin's been here for probably, 6-7 months, but it feels like we've been with him for a couple years now. I've learned so much already, and I can't wait to get camp started. But with great coaches and great guys around you, it's going to, hopefully easy, just to take the next step and, win some more games.
Stephen, does it seem like forever ago when you were even wondering if you were going to get a chance to play, when you look back and you'd been ruled ineligible? And talk a little bit about how you, as an old man now, how old are you now, 26?
27.
27. How do your old man habits rub off on these guys?
It really doesn't seem like that long ago. I mean, time flies. It's amazing how quick 4 years can go. But, man, these are a great group of men that I'm around. I just always try to be positive in everything that I do. Try to be contagious with my work habits. And this team is, like I've said before, it's one of the best gelled teams that I've been around in my 4 years here. And I believe we can do great things. I mean, everybody's bought in. Everybody's ready to go do what we need to do. Ignore all the noise from the outside about, projections, and just go with our expectations and what we always want to do, which is be the best.
Brent, Coach Stock talked a lot about the development of players over the summer, and you were a big part of that. Everybody showed up throwing on weekends, whatever it took. Talk about how you took on a leadership role there. Talk about that, and also your trip to the Manning Academy and how you felt that helped develop you some as well going into fall camp.
Like I said earlier, when you got great guys around you, it's easy to lead, easy to, rub up on those guys. So, I do take initiative to get those guys here and to work and throw, but, it's them wanting to work, even if I'm not here, they're up there working, you come out here on a Sunday night, Saturday afternoon, we got guys that are wanting to work. So, it's easy on me, but, credit to those guys. They work their tail off, and I think you're really going to see an improvement this year from, the receivers specifically. And then the Manning camp, that was just a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I got to meet some of the best quarterbacks across the country, pick their brains a little bit. I got to meet the Mannings. That was awesome. So, it was one of the best 3 or 4 days of my life. I learned more than I could ever ask for. Hopefully that'll, kind of help me this year.
Brent, your dad talked about the next steps, winning a conference, winning a bowl championship, and even dreaming of those Final Four days. Do players share those same dreams for this program?
Absolutely. I think it's every one of our goals, up here and on this team to, win a conference championship. Like Steven said, it really is one of the closest teams that I've been a part of. We truly are a family. And I think when you got, a close-knit team like that, you really do have the chance to do something special. So I think that we can win a conference championship. Going into camp, that's our goal. Like everybody's been saying, it's not about the numbers. It's not about, offense play good this game, defense, this and that. But, we just want to win games. We don't care how it looks. We just want to get that done and take the next step.
Brent, you've been here for, or you've been red-shirted, gray-shirted. You've had as much experience, waiting for your opportunity. Now you enter your second year as the leader. What have you had to work on heading into your second year, you've had to work on a lot all these years. You've been gray shirted and red shirted. What is one thing you had to work on heading into this season, whether in the off season or during spring, that you really focused on?
Well, first of all, this year's been different. I was talking to somebody the other day. When you're competing for a job, it's different. You can't really lead. It's kind of the guys on the team don't really know who to buy into. But once I don't want to say I solidify myself. I still got to compete every day. But when it's easier to lead when the guys got some trust in you and stuff like that. So it's been more fun this year to be able to lead and lead by example, be more vocal, that kind of thing. Something that I've been working on. I think Coach Franklin's been saying it, but just my pocket presence a little bit. Jared Goff was probably the best to do it in my opinion. We've watched so much film on him, and I've learned from him. So just continue to work on that throughout camp and those kind of things will be big for me this year.
Daniel, nothing happens on offense unless you guys up front. So you're really the real heroes in this whole thing. So talk a little bit about the depth and the quality of the guys coming back on the front, because Coach Stock said he had a lot of confidence in that first 6 or 7 guys in particular.
Well, we return a lot, obviously, and a lot of these players are versatile players. I mean, me, Josh, both played multiple positions. Chandler Brewers played multiple positions, and Marquise can do it as well. And I think that's what helps us. We may not have as many guys as far as depth goes, but if one of us goes down, I mean, we can rotate around some of the stars and bring in who would be the best possible fit after that. So being able to move around and stuff will take us to the next level up front.
DJ, Coach talked about he thought this was going to be a better pressure front four. How is that going to change your life and those behind you in the secondary if they're able to accomplish that?
Well, it'll cause either more picks or either more sacks, and it'll keep the linemen off of us too. So, it'll be real good for us. It'll make our job a lot easier too.
Hey, Brent, you had a great year last year. You worry that your offensive coordinator leaves. You wonder who's going to come in, and you get a guy who's known for the forward pass and moving the offense. Talk about what it's been like the last 6 months under Coach Franklin.
It's been awesome. It's kind of hard to describe, but if you sit down with with Coach Franklin and have a conversation with him, you instantly feel like you're just gaining knowledge, and it's just something about him. He just has this presence about, makes you feel more intelligent. You're always learning. So I've probably learned more in this 6 or 7 months than I could ever imagine. Under a new offensive coordinator. We've had 15 practices. It feels like I played a whole year under him. We come to work every day. Throughout this summer, on our own, just continue to rep what he wants us to do and to be extremely detailed, because that's what he preaches. So, I'm looking forward to camp, continue to learn from him, and I can't wait to get the season started.
Daniel, touching on that, Coach, you said at media days that Coach Franklin came in and nobody's position was safe, and that he moved everybody around. Tell us about that and him coming in where he moved guys around and getting adjusted to that mentality. You have to move around to different positions on the line or anywhere else.
Well, I think his main goal was just to establish competition. Obviously we have a lot of guys returning, but there's a lot of great players on his team that haven't seen the field as much as they possibly should have. And he really just wanted to get everybody in and get a good feel for everybody. And he wants to make sure that he puts the best product on the field. And so really him just creating competition on all 11 positions up front, where you started for 3 years or you haven't played a game, really kind of brought a new life to the offense and kind of made some people feel uncomfortable. But, that's what's good for this team, and that's what will take our offense and make us be better next year.
Brent, losing a talent like Ed from last year's team, what's that going to do to you in the passing game?
We all miss Ed. It was just a great personality to have on this team in the locker room. At practice, one of the hardest workers I've been around, the way he practiced. And obviously a great player, contributed, in large amounts to this team. But, I think they were talking about earlier, you're not going to replace one guy, with another guy. Like KB, you're not going to bring in, you got to do it by committee. So we'll bring in, a couple of receivers to replace him, and I think we can do that. It'll be by committee. I think we got young guys that have worked their tail off, some walk-ons, like Coach Franklin said, that are really going to contribute to our offense to replace, a couple guys that we lost. So I'm looking forward to seeing those guys step up, and, we'll see what happens.
Steven, talk a little bit about the schedule, or anybody else that wants to chime in. Last year, you guys never had to go on the road more than 1 week at a time. It was a completely alternating schedule, home, road. This year, there are 3 times that you have back-to-back road games this year. How important is it going to be for you guys to make sure your bodies are good and rest and all that kind of stuff?
that's always going to be important, always going to be paramount. Keeping your body in tip-top shape, being ready for adversity. Touching on being, having so many away games. Away games are what really test your team. It tests your willpower, your fortitude, and I love that adversity. I love that challenge. It's nothing like going on the road and beating a team. So I just look at it as another challenge, another obstacle for us to jump over. So I embrace it, and everybody else on the team does as well.
DJ, no one talks down rivalries like Coach Stockstill, but after what happened last year against Western Kentucky, how much do you circle October 15th on the schedule this year?
I mean, it's in the back of my mind, but right now we just focus on Alabama A&M. So, I mean,
Is that a real answer or just
nah,
off the card?
that's a real answer.
Stephen, Coach Nix and Coach Stock both talked a lot about your leadership on the defense. How much of that do you draw from your background in the military?
Almost all of it. Leading Marines is one of the toughest groups to lead. It's kind of like leading a bunch of A-dominant male figures that don't care what you got to say. I can be a leader too. So, I mean, just being able to do that, learning from leaders before me, I feel like that's established a great deal of foundation for me. And I'm always building, every day. You got a bunch of guys that's around me that are great leaders as well, and we kind of feed off each other. And I'm just blessed to be a part of this team and be able to lead so many great men.
Any of you that wants to answer this one, how do you guys deal with expectations this year? You're projected to win the East, whatever. How do you guys deal with those and not let them get in the way?
It sounds cliche, but I mean, it's very humbling, to know that people have that confidence in you. That we possibly can, win the East, win the conference. That's great expectations for us, but it's nothing if we don't do anything with it. I feel like when you start practicing this and you start practicing a game, you're not really thinking about what somebody said back in August. So right now it's good, but it won't mean anything until we go out there September 3rd and get the season cranked up.
DJ, you as a defense, you guys faced a number of Conference USA's top quarterbacks last year and high-powered offenses like Western Kentucky and Louisiana Tech. Now you're going up against a high-powered offense in practice. Tell me, Stephen touched on this at Conference USA Media Days, that you guys probably aren't going to be off the field that much. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, I agree with it. I mean, with our offense, it's high-powered. It only going to make us better on defense because going up against them every day competing, you can only get better. You won't stay the same. So I can't wait to get practice started.
Daniel, the O-line did a great job of protecting Brent last year, only allowed 17 sacks. If something had happened to Brent, you would have had a experienced starter coming in for him. You don't have that this year. How much pressure does that add to your job?
Well, you always want to protect your starting quarterback. Brent's obviously our guy, but even if he did go down, we have confidence in the guys behind him. John Rhodes is a young kid, but he's got a strong arm, and I feel like he can step in and do the job if he has to. Obviously it adds a little bit of pressure because Brent's such a talent, but if we have to roll with somebody else because of injury or whatever, we can do it. And that more comes from just the overall talent of the offense, not just one or two people. So.
More questions for these guys? All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
The Raiders break the huddle. Richie James is wide to the left.
Easy, check 50,
Shane
check
Tucker
50.
in the backfield, and Brent Stockstill under center. Starts to call an audible. Brent looks left. Now back to his right.
Check 50, check 50.
Say go. Ball snap. Brent drops back.
Middle Tennessee, our town, our team. Tickets on sale now.